Diverse Voices
Diverse
contest.
voices. I love it. Welcome to 10,000 Things, the show where two sisters writing and publishing shares with you the 10,000 things you need to know to write and publish a book. Today is the national holiday celebrating the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So, Catherine and I, as writers, as authors, as creators of Two Sisters Writing and Publishing that specialize in publishing the books written by people with diverse as race women, we are going to be talking about the legacy of Dr. King and what it means to us as writers. Very importantly, I just want to stress that Dr. King wrote at least 6 books, many speeches, many short stories, and letters. Those serve as a guidebook, as a blueprint, as inspiration for all of us, even today, 50, 60 years later, sadly, that the issues for equality and justice that he gave his life for are still unresolved. And so the message is that writing preserves powerful messages that can be applied for generations to come. So if you have a vision, a blueprint, an idea, write it down, publish it, share it. That is living the legacy of Dr. King and being of service, taking nonviolent action to help others everywhere. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins.
And I'm Catherine Greenspan.
And Catherine has a very powerful message that actually has 2 parts today, and it's all pertaining to Dr. King. Catherine?
Yes, so about writing, my community in Southern Oregon, there's a group called BASE here, BASE Southern Oregon, and it's a community platform for BASE serves to create a welcoming and supportive community where Black people in Southern Oregon feel safe, respected, and comfortable being themselves. If you look up the history of race in Oregon, it's horrific. Yeah, it's horrific, and I don't even want to repeat it. But BASE was created as a place where Black people in the community of Southern Oregon can come together and feel safe. And they put on an amazing virtual event today. Two things. One is they put on this amazing event with this amazing panel and just really powerful conversation. But they have a community challenge to read Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s book, Why We Can't Wait. 57 years later, it's still relevant. And they've partnered with the library system down here, and even the governor of the state of Oregon, Kate Brown, is taking the challenge. So my book will be here on Wednesday. Your book will be at your house, even though you're not in Southern Oregon, you're going to participate.
Yes.
I actually today shipped 10 copies of the book to BASE so that they can distribute them to people who can't get a hold of them because the library doesn't have enough copies. But we'll share the link, but it's baseoregon.org if you want to watch they put together a movie. It was amazing. But this challenge underscores Elizabeth's point about writing and it being relevant. And you just interviewed a very funny, humorous author, and you asked her about her legacy, and she was telling you that she found something from a long time ago that was like, she was thinking, well, maybe it was, oh, no, she was talking about, I can't remember the name of the book, but it was somebody's shopping list, and it was valuable in the present day. So we don't know what is going to stick. So we have to write what's happening now as our history, because what we're experiencing now. I mean, it was 100 years between the Spanish flu and the coronavirus pandemic. And if we're not writing about this, when the next pandemic comes, people aren't going to know. They're going to need the guidance of today. Everything that
Mhm.
we are experiencing is a
Mhm.
teaching
Mhm.
tool for the future.
Absolutely, absolutely. In addition, the act of writing is extremely therapeutic. It helps you process your emotions. It helps you understand, reflect, record, chronicle. So, for example, the day of George Floyd's murder, I was I was journaling prolifically because I had to process, and it was months and months, it still continues, process the feelings, the visions, the noise, the hate, the love, the peace, the protests. Writing enables you to like purge up all that energy so it doesn't stay in your body because it can make you ill. And so in addition, you're chronicling, you're recording what's going on in real time, which becomes history. And so future generations can read your version. It's so powerful. And there's never been a better time or easier time to publish your writing for everyone to share and read and be inspired by, learn from, and take action on. So Catherine did something today that was action oriented, speaking up, speaking out about something that she found offensive.
Yeah,
Catherine?
so this morning at about 6 o'clock, I'm just going to pull it up because I wrote a blog post about it. I got an email from on Main Street in my town. There's a place called Northwest Raw Bar, and they make these raw juices, and everything is cold and raw. Anyway, I'm on their mailing list, and I got this email saying, "We're here for you. We offer easy online ordering options with our new website so you can enjoy our food from the best seat in the house, your couch, indoor dining coming soon. Order online. Enjoy $2 off." And it goes on to say, today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's also Thesaurus Day and Winnie the Pooh Day and International Creative Month, exclamation point. So whatever you're choosing to observe, we support you and want to offer you $2 off at Raw today. I read that and I was so disgusted. To compare this day, this federal holiday honoring the life and the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., to Winnie the Pooh Day, to Thesaurus Day, and then to state it in a way as if we all have a choice, which we do, but to state it in a way that it's you can celebrate Winnie the Pooh, the Thesaurus, or Dr. Martin Luther King. I thought this was so insensitive and so wrong that I immediately emailed them back and I said, "Dear Northwest Raw, you may not be aware, but you are diminishing the significance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day by also saying it's the Thesaurus Day, etc. I imagine you are trying to be funny, but in these incomparable times of social justice and inequity, it's not funny. To say, quote, whatever you're choosing to observe, unquote, is beyond callous and flippant. The work that MLK Jr. did to earn a federal holiday is not something to be taken lightly. Our country clearly needs this day. Your poor taste has lost you a customer. I hope you will consider sending an apology for your poor attempt at being cute. I hope to retrieve a retraction soon." I also went to their Facebook page and they had a post saying that they were created a new flavor or blend of juices celebrating today, and I commented on that requesting that they send out an apology for this insensitive, flippant email that they sent. And later in the day, when I went back to see if they had responded to me, the post was gone. I also forwarded this to the local newspaper, so hopefully they will publish it. And nothing against the establishment that made this post, but I want everybody to learn from this. First of all, it's a pandemic and restaurants are shut down. Now is not the time to be losing customers because of stupid things that you're trying to do to get attention or be funny. Now is not the time. More than ever, now is not the time. So I have a couple of friends who also, a friend of mine just told me that she called the restaurant directly and expressed her displeasure and said that she wanted her to pass it up to management. I don't know if the girl would or not, but in any event, I saw that this morning and I couldn't let it lie. And also, go ahead.
So I'm sure some people would hear this. Well, first of all, I really commend you for having the courage to speak up and out and take action on it. I think some people will say, oh, that's so oversensitive. You shouldn't be so sensitive about little things like that. But they're called microaggressions. Some would argue this isn't just micro, but it's a collective of insults, diminishment. So to compare or put Dr. King and Winnie the Pooh in the same category is insulting to people who revere Dr. King and understand the symbolism of today. And let me just add that Congressman John Conyers introduced the bill in Congress for the King holiday in the 80s. Okay. And it was not enacted.
It was celebrated by all the states. It was observed by all the states in 2000. That was the first time.
So
as if it's a choice.
Right. The banks are closed. The post office is closed. It's a national federal holiday. So it's not a choice. It's an observance of a very a revered individual who helped change the course of American history.
And it's about humanity. It's about humanity. And there's this saying that to be silent is to be complicit.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right. So it's important to speak up and speak out and also keep everything in perspective that it matters. It matters. And we all have a role to play to educate each other and uplift and inspire each other. And it's also no coincidence that this is the week of the inauguration, when it's very important to voice our opinions and also to do so in a spirit of helping, learning, inspiring, to teach, because that's what happened after George Floyd's murder last summer. People wanted to learn. White people wanted to learn. Books about anti-racism surged to the top of the bestseller list because white people woke up and decided it's time to learn, it's time to change, it's time to take action. But they had to learn first what's the problem here, because people feel like they were not fully aware of the dynamics that were occurring and that caused the protests in the streets around the world. So this is another moment of awakening, and I commend you, Catherine, for your courage to speak up and speak out and take action. And I encourage all people to do so in a way that is nonviolent, like Dr. King said. Nonviolence, nonviolence, nonviolent resistance is what helped us to finally have the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Nonviolence is what finally brought about many, many changes. So violence is never the answer, never. Mahatma Gandhi proved that as well in India. And so peaceful protest with words, with writing, with speaking that makes change.
Right, which is why we are holding contests all of 2021 about diverse voices. Your voice deserves to be heard, and we want to be your megaphone. We are first publishing right now. Our January call for submissions is for older adults, stories of what it's like to be you, 60 plus. We want to hear your stories. Our February contest is on African American writers for Black History Month. And these contests are open, they're open. They're all open right now.
Mm-hmm.
So please go to twosisterswriting.com and submit your stories about your voice. We want to hear your voice.
Mm-hmm. So let me just talk about Dr. King and short stories. I wish I remembered the name of the short story that he wrote, or maybe it was an essay, but it was really delightful. He went to the refrigerator one night and he wrote about how all the items had come from different parts of the world. Like he pointed to this fruit and said it came from Guatemala or, places around the globe. And it was so wonderful because he was talking about the unity of humanity through food and through our connectedness. And this was way before the internet was ever thought of. And so it's really delightful. So don't discount the power of a short story or essay to have impact and lasting change on the psyche of people, because even a short paragraph or a short story can contain a nugget of guidance, wisdom, inspiration that can help people, or at least entertain them, or inspire us, or teach us something. So please write what you're feeling today, write what you're feeling about this year, this past year, record it, because Catherine made the excellent point about the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, about how historians and journalists and such are looking back to find material as a comparison point, guidance on how that was dealt with back then. And now there's so many parallels between the two. And hopefully the pandemic will end just as quickly as it started, and we too will embark on the roaring 20s as they did last time. The roaring 20s, which was party time.
The
So
roaring
hopefully,
2020s.
yeah, exactly. I'm hoping for that. So, is there anything else, Catherine?
No, not at all. Except, there is one thing, and that is if you have a book. Last year, Elizabeth had a hashtag Write the Change book coaching program. If you have a book and your book has a message and you are just needing to get that book out, but you don't know how, sign up for Elizabeth's book coaching class. It's only 6 months. It's and in six at the end of this year, you could have a published book. And
Yes.
you could start making an impact on the world with your words.
Hmm. Yes, write the change. I came up with write the change based on Mahatma Gandhi's famous quote, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." Well, if you're already being the change, then write the change and share it with others to tell them how you're doing it and how they too can join you. Thanks for that. So,
Sure.
two
And
of
then
my mhm.
go ahead.
Two of my students from my programs last year, from my book coaching programs, are now published authors.
They are. They are. They're making an impact with both their books.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, we always appreciate that you join us for 10,000 Things here on the Two Sisters Writing and Publishing channel. We hope that we've said something to inspire, entertain, ins- educate you, ins- prompt you to action, to speak up and speak out as Catherine did today, and to write. Please write. And also, we just want to give our absolute reverence and respect for the legacy and life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He inspires both of us on a daily basis Catherine was born the year he was murdered, and I was born the year before that as racial insurrections blazed across America. So we were born of that era, and we are continuing our mission as authors and publishers of diverse books that share inspiration and celebrate diversity and inclusion by providing action steps that can create and sustain change.
The change
So,
we wish to see.
yes. Yes. So, thank you for joining us here today on 10,000 Things. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins,
And I'm Catherine Greenspan.
and we'll see you next Monday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time for another episode of 10,000 Things. Thanks for watching.